Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Like a Hero, and today I have an update on my original video that was released about a month ago. Diablo Exile tries Path of Exile. I am now about 200 hours in, and just over that. Let me quickly open this up and see 213 hours into my Path of Exile experience. That includes some of the Crucible season towards the end of that, and then now season of the Trial of the Ancestors. So I just kind of want to watch my initial reactions here, and then I'm going to go into my overall impressions with the game now that I have about 200 hours in. I feel like I can give actual opinions that are weighted with experience right within that game, and just overall my experiencing that learning curve of playing Path of Exile, and give you my thoughts on that. So I saw like many of you might have, I saw the Path of Exile 2 gameplay footage, and they had that big Exile con. So I kind of just was like, hey, I'm going to boot up. And if you haven't seen this video, it is in my channel. Just check out the Path of Exile playlist. Path of Exile, it's free to play on Steam, and so I'm going to give it a try, and I'm just going to kind of go over my thoughts and about it, what I went through. TLDR, I enjoyed it, and that is the most important thing. I do want to say that it does feel to me right off the bat that Path of Exile is a type of game that requires a lot of commitment. I would say a lot of, and that's still the case. I feel like Path of Exile is a game that, I guess, to newer generation players, and I kind of compare this to like classic WoW experience to what retail WoW is like. There were or is a lot of inconveniences in classic WoW. If you're playing that or you have played that, the leveling process takes a long time. You walk around everywhere. There's a lot of time spent walking in that game. I absolutely love classic WoW. And I feel like from a Diablo 4 to a Path of Exile switch, there are a lot of things that I would say a large portion of the D4 player base will not like with Path of Exile. But with that commitment of time and figuring the game out, is once you get to a certain point and you understand builds and you understand your atlas and all that, the game really opens up. And I would say, even with my 200 hours in, I still feel like there's so much other things to do in the game. Because Path of Exile has so many things to do, and it's accumulation of so many seasons, and the way that seasonal content joins the base game, and then future seasons then include the base game with all the previous seasons, it has become a very complex game. So as a new player, I decided I was just going to focus on a few things, and that has made the game super enjoyable for me. Even something as simple as essence farming it feels good. You're running through these maps, and you need to work on builds. There's all these things to do, but to focus on a couple of things has made the game super enjoyable for me. So I would say, as someone who is probably looking to get into it's a good thing to go by. Just focus on one or two mechanics that you enjoy in the game. For me, it was at the start of the season, it was a lot of betrayal. I wanted to get those crafting recipes, and then I moved into the delving, and those are the kind of my main things that I'm doing. And recently, I started to like this speedrunning essence farming, just focusing on that. And I don't find it too punishing switching your atlas, as long as you're not completely resetting it. However, keeping it simple, focusing on a couple of things that you like is definitely the way to go for this game. You have to remember that it is almost a decade's worth of content, and so there's that double-edged sword from that, right? If you're going to try to do everything, you're not going to learn anything. It's going to be super difficult to get well accustomed if you're trying to do everything at once. Whether it is mapping or running betrayal missions for June or doing my depths, I feel like whenever I log in, there's always something to do. And so one day I might focus on just delving and getting my maps to get my currency to be able, my sulfite to be able to do that. I may log in another day and I'm working on my investigation here. Right now I have Aisling in the research, so that's going good for me. But all these systems and all these things do require time to research. So a good amount of my time was spent looking up wikis or spending some time with either POE trade. There's a lot of outside things that need to be taken if you really want to enjoy your time in the game, and they just feel super rewarding. I definitely feel that the time spent learning all these systems has made, when I do log in now, much more enjoyable. Early on, one of the things that I struggled the most was committing my points into my passive tree. I was really unsure about where I wanted to go, so following a guide was definitely helpful for that. I have since deviated a little bit from it. I have moved some stuff around, and I'm just kind of trying it. I have moved some stuff around and then did not like it, so then I was, had to refund them. But that is something that I'm slowly getting the hang of, is kind of seeing what I like to do and where my build's at. I do feel like there is such variety with the builds, even though there are some builds currently. There's a meta, of course. However, there is variation within those meta builds, and I definitely enjoy this part of the game. The other thing that I didn't know at first was that once I would, there's the passive tree, then there's the atlas tree. I did mention earlier that I'm currently really into the delves. I have done obviously the mapping points. I'm trying to clear my atlas here, and betrayal, and I do have a couple points into some essence farming as well. Now I could, at the beginning, I was going to just use my chaos for this, and I do have a decent amount. I have almost 17, almost 2,000 chaos here, orbs. But I was like, you know what? I don't need to spend this season on perfecting a build, because right now I just want to learn the mechanics. And the good thing about this game is that next season we're all going to start fresh, and I will be able to take everything that I've learned from this season and then incorporate that in my new seasonal character, or my new league, right? League start next league. Definitely something that this is a long-term game, and if you go in with that mentality that it is a long-term game, there's definitely that enjoyment that comes from, from getting your build. One of the things that I've liked, even though I'm currently sitting at 93, almost 94, is that I've never felt like I'm just doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though I technically am doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because getting to 100 is not the purpose of my character. I'm at a point already where in my in my passive tree, I pretty much have all the notable passives and the points that I want. The other few points that I would get are pretty much just like going to be either main stat points. Maybe I put up some points in these other areas here. Like I probably should put one here in attack mastery, and maybe move some around. But I'm pretty much set with my build for what I'm doing. I think it's just about gaining some more currency and then improving the currently build that I have. But it doesn't feel like that is the goal. Where previously in Diablo, for me, when I was playing that was pretty much the goal, is to get to 100, right? So leveling is just something that occurs while you're playing the game as opposed to it being the thing that you're trying to accomplish. And as I've played, I've learned more about what I'm looking for in drops, what I'm looking for, how the map system works. I have purchased some stash space even, and that has made my organizational life a lot better. That is one thing that I will say about this game, though, is that stash space it does get to a point if you are really playing the game and you are trying to, sell and stuff, you are kind of pushed into that purchase stash space. So I would say for 200 hours for me purchasing the stash space, I think it came out to like $30 is what I ended up spending this for the couple of tabs that I'm using. That definitely worth it. And if you find yourself struggling with that stash space, the game does kind of nudge you towards that. Now, I don't think it is mandatory for players, but I do feel like at a certain point, as you are really, running dungeons or getting those maps done, you want to have a little bit extra convenience. So the game does kind of push you into spending a little bit for that stash space. And honestly, not a big deal for me. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. However, I just did want to point that out, that there is a little bit of a push stash space. So besides doing those systems that I'm focusing on, the other thing that I'm really, really just starting to hit the early stages of is crafting. So right now I've only just added a suffix or a prefix to a piece of gear. I have done just like the minimum of it. I have got my 5 links on. I'm in the process of, I do currently have my 6 links. However, I need currency for that. But the crafting system, and that's kind of going back to why I wanted to focus on Betrayal, is just to get some of those veiled crafts. But the crafting system itself is so complex. And again, earlier I talked about the need for POE trade, for POE ninja. In my previous videos, I did mention the filter system, which is, these things are like essential if you really want to save your time while you're playing the game, just that extra convenience. The use of a simulator, which is called POE Craft, and let me see if I can pull this up here. It's something that I've actually, Path of Exile. So I've spent time kind of tinkering with this, tinkering with the simulator, with the emulator, trying to just kind of get into that. And this video is not about that. However, it is about the fact that, again, I'm harking on that, there is a lot of stuff to do. So, and this is a good time to mention, I have not even touched this seasonal mechanic, which is Trial of the Ancestors, because, like I said, I really wanted to know these things first and foremost, get a general understanding of the game, and then slowly build from that. And if you have any suggestions, any things that, resources that I should be using, please let me know in the comments. Guys, if you want to support the channel, great way to support the channel is by liking it, dropping a comment, sharing this video. Let me know what you guys think. This game has been very enjoyable. I definitely see myself sticking with this, continuing to learn about it. In the future, make more content, not so much build related content, but just like general, just discussion on the topic. I feel like I want to slowly push my channel away from the build and from those guides types of videos and kind of go into more reviewing games. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. I hope you guys are good. Good luck and take care.